guys missed the last video, here's a rundown. I picked up this K20 swapped S13 for no other purpose than it was a good deal and it's pretty fun fixing mistakes and negligence from a car that someone didn't take care of. Now my buddy Ben built it and he built it really nice, but it passed to a different owner and then over time things just kind of, for lack of a better way of saying it, went to So the first thing we did today was put the car up on the lift and we found a lot. Because this car is significantly lower than most of the stuff we have, interesting things happen, like the jacking point ripping off of the chassis, probably from catching something on the ground. Other things to look out for, like exhaust rubbing and drive shaft, that could be a big failure point. But the major thing was everything that was loose on the car. Every time you jack up a car, it's always a good habit to take your hands on the wheels and kind of go like this, as that'll be an indicator to kind of help you find where stuff is loose. In this case, this wheel bearing is loose, but also pretty much every jam nut on every suspension point on the car was loose. And what that means is when this lock nut is loose, the arm can kind of move up and down, which also could result in it breaking and creates wobbling and makes the car not feel good. But other than that, like the diff mount, trans mount, engine mounts, all loose. Sway bar doesn't even have bolts. It's literally just hanging there in place. It's always good to do TLC, and I kind of had a feeling I had some rough stuff, but I was up for the excitement of, you know, if it made me crash the other day, it made me crash. Now Ben, who originally built this car, reached out to me after seeing the video that I uploaded and was like, yo, that car is way too slow. When I had it, it would spin third gear on the skid pad. So something is definitely wrong, and today we're gonna put it on the dyno, see what kind of power it's currently making, and we're gonna go over everything to see what's hurting us right now. And I did learn, looking underneath the car, we've got AN lines for the entire fuel system, which is gonna be nice because if I wanna chuck a little ethanol in it and see if there's some gains there, we can do that too. Unfortunately, no plug for fuel pressure in the harness, but I got my handy signature fade fuel pressure gauge that I made with Dishworks, available on LZMFG, and gets you in for a chance to win the Corolla. So if you need a fuel pressure gauge, doesn't hurt. I'm so stoked to have Hurt here for the next episode of the Breezy Rally series, where we are celebrating the launch of Breezy, a drink by Noka, 40% juice, 8% alcohol, available near you. Check the description. We're doing lap times around the compound, and you're up next.
I am up next. I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. I don't have a lot of rally experience, but I do play dirt rally on the sim, you know, so I know a little left foot brake action, but chances are high the car's gonna end up upside down.
Nope, nope, none of that.
On fire.
Nope, none of that.
Missing a wheel.
Yo, he's going last, right? This is the last one?
Yeah.
Well, if you're not first, you know what they say.
Your ass.
Your ass.
All right, Hurt's up next. Hurt, how you thinking you stack up? We've seen everyone else's times at this point.
I'm not a rally boy. I'm not a dirt boy. I'm not an Evo boy. I'm not any of the boys. So I don't.
You are one of the boys. You're one of the boys.
Officially.
Yeah, if I'd be lucky to beat Tommy.
You're gonna beat me.
Yeah.
He was moving.
Yeah.
Was I really?
No, yeah.
I'm
It
curious.
felt-
You were moving.
I'm curious to see how the second gear stacked up because you actually used second gear and you just like clutched it.
Oh, you did? You
Yeah.
said
Yeah,
you did the whole track?
a good bit of
okay,
it.
yeah,
I,
all right.
I think Jimmy gave me an advantage because I saw how he drove it,
Yeah.
and it put me in a place. Okay, I need to be aggressive. I need to dive into. You can't just like walk into it. So I basically just went all in. That was one of the scariest things I've ever done. Also, and we're only going 30 miles an hour. It was chaos. It was pure chaos.
All right, let's roll it.
I'm excited to see this. I'm gonna guess third lap.
Oh, God.
Second. Oh, God. Oh, God, the three.
Oh, that was
The first lap.
All
Yeah.
right. Dude, this is so sketchy.
He's doing the same thing.
It's insanely sketchy.
He's like, third lap is the fastest.
Yeah.
He's using that clutch the
whole time. I think I stayed in first this lap actually.
Did you?
Yeah, third lap because I just got tired of almost dying.
Yeah.
So shifting was just not an option.
Damn, you were moving over that jump.
Yeah. Oh, stay in it.
I was fast there.
Yeah, that
Wow.
was fast. Look at those hands moving.
Out of my ass.
Just laughing the whole time.
I chug it here.
Oh, that looks good.
That was good.
Hell yeah.
Come on.
No way.
Wow.
Come on. Oh, man.
That was good.
I don't think I did.
That
I
was
don't
good.
think I did.
We held it down there. We held it down.
Yo, for real.
Hell yeah.
That was good.
Dude, at first I was like, oh, I don't want to do a ride. on, like that sucks being faster. And
It
I-
was
I-
fun.
so much fun.
Yeah,
was fun.
it was a good time.
It was a really good
I think that definitely made this a lot better. That was a crazy experience.
It was really cool to see how everyone's times were so close, like
Yeah.
considering like varying levels of experience, not having driven the track
Yeah.
being really sketchy, the car being not exactly all there.
For how long?
We found out afterwards that one of the brakes wasn't working in the front. So if you tap the brakes, one way it made it rotate really good, the other way it made it push.
So basically, the beginning of my clip.
Yeah.
You guys,
It's why it
yeah,
rotates
you
like
guys
that.
knew it because it made no sense to me because all I did was literally tap the brake and it just.
All right, this has been a lot of fun. This is not the end of the Breezy Rally series, but this is the end of this group. We'll be doing more in a couple weeks. Remember, check the link in the description if you want to find Breezy near you or speak to your local retailer and they can get it in the store. 40% juice, 8% alcohol, and a lot of fun.
Breezy season.
All right, guys, I have some bad news, but the bad news kind of transitions into good news in a way. The Safari GTR, as you guys know, and were quite upset with me on Instagram for posting it for sale, it does officially have a buyer and it is officially sold. The reason why this car is going, I would say a large part of it is I kind of did this, got my feet wet with rally a little bit. I bought the Subaru I plan to do more in rally with, and this car just required way too much money to get it ARA compliant. And once I had the Subaru, I don't really have a purpose for this car. And as much as I would love to keep it and put it on a shelf because it is really cool and I do really like how it looks and it drives great and it's really dialed, it just doesn't have a purpose. It's gonna sit. And I'm at a point where I gotta clear out some of the builds if I wanna fund some really big ideas that I have for the off season. I got some expensive engines that needed some love, like the 4-rotor Supra, the 964 getting a 4-liter, and then one very big project that's gonna be happening on the off season that this thing saying bye-bye will help. And honestly, it's one of the few cars that I have positive equity in, from the sense of I can kind of get most of my money back from this car versus another car. Like, let's just say hypothetically I sold the S15, the hundreds of thousands of dollars that are in it, it'd probably sell for like 80 grand. Not that I would consider selling it, but at least this one, it can leave, I can be happy, I know that it's dialed and it's going to a good home. With that being said, all the Safari merch that is on my website is no longer going to be restocked. We've been keeping it in stock because it's actually been one of our most popular designs, but now that the car is sold, we're not gonna restock it, so I believe we have a handful of Safari decks left, the shirts, cool memento from the legacy of this car. And in other website news, we also finally restocked a small batch of our signature LZ Fade wheels, made in Italy, beautiful, available in perforated leather and suede, and a bunch of other stuff has been restocked or added to the site, so make sure to check out the new arrivals section, because every $5 you spend gets you entered for a chance to win the GR Corolla and $12,500 cash. So I'm gonna be in the hot seat tuning this thing. We're going through the link and getting everything set up, and I have a very challenging question for you, Freddie. This is the hardest thing for me to grasp when it comes to tuning. Try to easily explain the difference between modeled and traditional fueling.
Okay. Traditional fueling is just injector time. Like how long the injector is open, that's what it does. It doesn't look at the air temperature, it doesn't look at your lambda target. It's very generic, kind of like a Megasquirt. It's like a quick way to tune a car. And then modeled fueling, it takes in your air temperature, your fuel density, your lambda target table. There's a lot more settings that go into the final calculation for the fuel mass injected, but you can very easily mess it up by having the wrong injector dead time, short pulse with adder. It just takes a little bit more time to set it up.
So we're going through the time to set it up, but the end result when you actually take the time and do it in modeled is the ECU can actually adjust and account for a lot of different variances or things that could happen, keeping the engine safe and running good. Is that fair?
Yeah.
So we've spent probably 15 minutes or so just going through every single table to make sure everything's set up right before we even get to the dyno. But of course, we're gonna do a baseline how it was before, just to see kind of what the gains are from actually going through everything. Yeah, so I'm pulling the car over to the dyno right now, and it's funny because we fixed so many things that were loose. Now the car vibrates like twice as much. I bet all the loose stuff was actually dampening some of the vibrations out of the car. Got her all staged up on the main line. One of my favorite things is being able to dyno a car without having to strap it down and just knowing that you don't need to worry about the car flying off rollers. Owen brought up a good point. Stinky spins second gear pretty easily. This thing was struggling. My bet is this car right now is making like 140 horsepower, which would mean it's like 60 down from what it should be making, around 200. And just as a refresher, mechanically, we have added no parts to this car. It's exactly as it was, other than me going through the ITBs and fixing some leaks, resealing some things, putting thread locker on some important bolts. We haven't spent anything on the car yet, so hopefully there's some free horsepower to unlock. Double laptop up in this, John. What's up?
We ready to let it rip?
Yeah.
I'm trying to vlog, log, and laptop all at the same time. All right, let me vlogger. I swear I don't hear a VTEC. Ah, there's too much going on. All right, my bet was, I think I bet this, 156 horsepower. That's pretty bad.
Really bad. It's terrible.
I didn't hear VTEC. Did you hear VTEC?
I did not hear VTEC.
Oh, I can't wait to crack VTEC. Yeah, 156 horsepower. All right, let's make this a little bit better looking. Almost the first pass as we dial in some fueling. Serious gains of almost over 30 horsepower. But an interesting thing that Freddie pointed out was down here, you can see that it was actually making less power. And because we can operate under the assumption that VTEC just wasn't working before, it tells us that no VTEC down here actually makes a little bit more power. So then what we did is we took VTEC, we moved it downward. So instead of putting it on so late, putting it on earlier then brings up the mid-range too without losing the top. So basically play around with VTEC until you get the best of both worlds and can have the most power underneath the curve. So right now this is where we're sitting compared to the old graph, but we just weren't going all the way to avoid putting heat into it.
Wait for the Lambda to warm up. Oh, scroll up.
So we're checking the graph to see if it's making more power, and then over here I'm looking at the Lambda versus the Lambda target, and you'll see this yellow line being really close to that green line means that I got the fueling pretty much on point. A couple little spots over here, but other than that, she's looking pretty good. I can pull a little fuel out right around 4,500. Rev's pretty good, honestly. I got no complaints. Is that just because it's TPS based that we don't need to?
It's all alpha and does all the fuel for you.
Damn, pretty sweet. All right, so what is your preferred power adder? I have ethanol, I have M5, supercharger, turbo.
What are you doing with this car?
So I'm just owning that this car is absolutely zero purpose. It is nothing more than a tinker project to get to mess with stuff for low cost and low effort. So I have M5 that I've already purchased that I have nothing else to put it in. Just saying. M5, if you guys don't know, is it's a methanol fuel with nitro added to it too.
Yeah, it's a little too much.
Yeah, probably a little bit too much. Ethanol though would what, pick up 10 horsepower?
Yeah, like not much. We're not really like knock limited right now because it's a bone stock motor.
Got it. It would be pretty easy to throw a turbo on it, but I personally, I would love an inexpensive supercharger solution because I don't want to spend like $5 grand on a crazy supercharger just because I've never had a supercharged car.
I don't like blowers, man.
Why?
I don't know. I don't like the belt and all that stuff. They make a lot of heat. Just like do a header and not intake, header and some cams and let it ride.
Okay.
You know, make like low twos.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I want to drive it now because I drove it before with 150 and it was rough, but it should be able to pull second now. Why is that so funny?
I don't know. We're pulling second gear.
Yeah. All right, I guess time will tell. We'll test her out, see how she feels. All right, pretty big difference if you look at the before and after, so I'm excited to drive it. We're talking about some gains over here of over 40 horsepower, which when you're only making 130 before, that's a pretty big deal. So hopefully it should be a lot easier to drift now and make cool things. All right, now I promise this wasn't intentional. I just pulled it out to do my first test rips, and of course it starts raining. But in this scenario, rain is gonna make the 186 horsepower be phenomenal. So I'm very, very stoked about that. I'll still be able to tell difference, but it's not gonna be the same as if we were comparing when it was dry. One thing I've been warned that is already becoming a regular problem is that everything vibrates loose on this car, and I actually just lost throttle. Luckily not in drift. So I'm gonna use some red Loctite on that now, and hopefully that won't happen again. Good news is, throttle's fixed. Bad news is, it's very wet out. So excited to try this thing. It sucks though not having really working brakes at all. It's kind of dangerous. Ready to pop some VTEC maybe. Hell yeah! Is that oil smoke or tire smoke? I can't tell. Very sketchy driving this thing in the rain, so I gotta be careful. Whoa! Rain setup not the best right now. It's a little loose. I might actually want to take some tire pressure out. Engine feels good. I just wish I had a drop to compare it to. Like driving the E36, but you got to be way more on point because of the no power steering. Like if you're spinning out, you're spinning out. The power band's sick though. It's too loose in the rear to use the angle, if that makes sense. I need to air the tires out now that it's wet, of course. It sounds sick though. All you hear is induction noise. I really need to put some filters on the front, I think. I'd say let me chase you. I would say don't chase me because I might spin, but I trust you. It's just real icy where the tire smoke is, or where the tire rubber is. I'll hang back. Oh, so fun. That was a good save, right? Hell yeah. Trying to give it another go? I don't have glasses on, so if I stop drifting, it's either because I crashed or I can't see. The game is to follow him close enough, but don't follow him too close, or if he spins, we crash. On you pretty good.
I'm so proud of that.
Hey, I need to figure out, so I think when this thing gets hot, VTEC stops working.
Yeah, the temp thing?
No, so I think what it is, I think it's low on oil, but it doesn't have a dipstick. I should probably chill now just in case it is low on oil.
Yeah.
But that was good, I got to drift it. It feels good.
Sick.
Yeah, it's a lot, it's like an A86 with a tad bit more power. But I can hear that VTEC's not working. It doesn't do the whoop.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I'm gonna go put it away.
The rain's so good.
I know. Overall, I'd say its first outing after getting tuned pretty successful. Pretty happy with my tune, felt pretty crispy. The only issue that it's having now that it did have on the dynos, when it gets warm, VTEC appears to stop working, but it's nothing in the settings, which points to there being some sort of oil pressure issue. Probably would have been smart of me to be logging and see what happened with oil pressure there, but I didn't do that. But anyway, if the oil pressure starts getting low, then it might not have enough pressure for VTEC to be able to activate, which would make the car feel slower in those scenarios. So we'll do an oil change tomorrow, make sure the level's good. Since there's no dipstick on this car, we don't really know where the oil level is, and that could be a big problem. So as much as I'd like to continue driving right now, I should probably address that first. Oh, good thing it automatically logs. Looking at some data, it looks like we were getting as low as 28 PSI at 7,200 RPM once this thing had been driven for a while and oil temps got hot. As a comparison, earlier at the same RPM, we would be seeing about 60 PSI. So probably needs an oil cooler, and we'll also dig into the level because that could definitely play a big role. But I think it's safe to say if it's supposed to be getting 60 plus PSI and we're only seeing 24, that's probably why VTEC's not working, and also very, very bad for the engine. So glad we stopped driving. So before I drive it again, of course, I need to get the oil problems resolved. I'm actually gonna be out today, so Owen's gonna start working on the bracket for an oil cooler. you know, this might be some pretty good practice. If you guys don't already know, the LZ World Tour at Modelo Park is right around the corner. We're switching up things big time, and this year we are actually having a showdown where we're putting some pros in IS200s, which are like crazy slow. It's gonna be awesome to see some guys out of their elements and other ones that obviously probably have way more experience than me in slow cars. So I'm gonna view this thing as my practice for the IS200. If you're from Ireland, you know the IS200, it's like a thing over there. They use it for rings. It's really cool. But get your tickets if you haven't already. We're expecting to sell out. Every year we've come to Ireland, the energy is amazing, and we're just leveling the show up every single time, and this year's gonna be the biggest and baddest yet. I'm excited to see you there, so make sure to get your tickets down in the description. While we're doing the oil cooler, I'm also gonna move the overflow for the radiator. Not really the most ideal mount down there. I guess it makes the bay look cleaner having it down there, but I don't really care about that. So I'm just gonna stick it right up here, and then it's easy to access and less chance of it flopping around or breaking in the event of a crash. How can I do this without leaking? Big brain. So, if I'm lucky, I can take this, flip it, and then just put it right there. Easy peasy. A little bit too easy, if I do say so myself. One of my favorite things when building cars is making lines. We got a beautiful vibrant cabinet, all the fittings we could possibly need. I'd say probably the reason why I enjoy it the most is because back in the day when I really didn't know anything about wrenching on cars, the only thing that I ever did with the cars that I had confidence in was make the lines. It's kind of time consuming, but it's fun because it's not really fabricating, but it also is because you can think about how you want to run your lines, what fittings you want to use, and obviously it's very nice when we have all the different fittings to try. But for this car, I'm just using some scrap -10 line we have. I'm still going to take the time to make it nice. If you've made AN lines before, one of the most critical things, and maybe you already know this or don't know this, you want to have matching line for your fittings. So if you have vibrant line and vibrant fittings, it's going to be a breeze. But if you have mismatched fittings, or if you have line that maybe isn't the most precise, it might be a bit of a headache trying to get things in, especially when you're dealing with some of the bigger lines. Now there's a really special, cool cutting tool for making lines, but ours is in California with our car for Irwindale. So I'm going to use the old school trick of some tape and a grinder, and that should do the trick. Just you don't want to get this stuff frayed because then that makes your life quite a bit harder when it comes to making the lines.
Yum.
Yeah. Looks good to me. A little lube on the fitting. Usually we have special jaws that we use for this, but this is actually an aluminum vise, so it won't scratch the fittings. But they do make some pretty cool jaws that you can use if you have a normal vise, so you don't need to worry about scratching up your nice, pretty new fittings. These things are the best. Adjustable hand wrenches, really handy for when you're making lines. One done, 3 to go. I'm just mocking it up. I'm gonna thoroughly clean these lines before I actually use them, but I just wanna make sure that I get the lengths perfect. I do wanna point out too, I went a little overkill on the oil cooler. Owen sent me a photo of all of the different options we had lined up, and I couldn't really tell the size, so I just said do the biggest one. Look at this thing. It's half the size of the radiator, which is actually pretty sick because like the idea for this thing would be able to just hot lap, like low power cars where you don't have to change tires, and you don't need to stop to cool down, always the best. It'll probably need bigger fans on the radiator to do that, but starting with a bigger oil cooler kind of saves time of changing that in the future. I also changed the Amazon oil pressure sensor that was on here. Ben said he didn't really trust it, so I put a link sensor in there, which I know and trust. So I'll need to rescale that, but at least now we'll know that our oil pressure data is really good. We unfortunately don't have an oil temp sensor, and I'm not smart enough to wire one of those in right now. So I'll just monitor pressure and make sure that all that's good, and we'll actually get to test it in the dry, I hope. It's not raining, right?
Not yet.
It doesn't look like it's gonna rain?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. This thing made a lot of weird noises in the trunk.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Now you know.
I think it's from all these hubs.
Yeah.
Oh, a coil pack! That's an SR20 coil pack, I'm pretty sure. What is this?
Is that an inverter?
Does it work?
It's
not plugged into anything.
no.
That's a strange one. Doesn't it smell like a BMW back here?
It does.
Like BMW, this is like, it's like BMW. It's this.
It's like crayons.
Yeah. Well, I'm stoked, dude. This is good. That's like 5 horsepower right there.
Yeah.
Ah, that's actually, that's more than I thought.
Probably 30 pounds right there.
What's that wood for?
Wow, he's doing an air suspension setup and then he gave up.
I don't think it does anything, right? This gotta go.
Yeah, that's a little weird. Look at the mounts. Look at the cutout mounts.
Damn, that's probably from a cage.
Yeah.
So someone cut a cage out of this?
I can't think of where
But
else
what-
it would come from.
That's also strange points to tie the cage into and not the strut tower. And why was the bar going straight up?
Right?
That's a funny story. I want to know what that was.
Previous owner from 05 or whenever.
Literally every S13 ever has probably so many weird stories like that. Comment below if you have a weird story about your S chassis. Just something weird that you found that you either found the answer to or didn't find the answer to. These are the most f***ed with cars on the planet f***ing Earth.
Next to Civics.
I feel like S chassis might be more f***ed with than Civics. Because
don't
no
know.
one dailies a stock S13.
Everyone did.
A lot of people daily Civics.
Yeah.
So there's probably the ratio of modified to unmodified S13s has to be higher than Civics.
Yeah.
Just because there's so many.
Well, yeah.
I still see Civics all the time. It's crazy. You know what's crazy to me? A CRX is considered a Civic. That in my head. That's not a Civic. Damn, dude. This thing might have some jammers in it.
It used to.
Or maybe it still does. It's got a head unit. I never tried to turn it on.
Yeah.
Watch this thing have a killer subwoofer sound system.
Oh, boy, got brakes.
So a lot of people don't take this seriously enough, but you can make a stock S chassis like handbrake work just with good pads. So these are track day pads that'll just work really good at cold temperatures. You really should put them on all four corners because right now my brake bias is gonna be super messed up if I try to left foot brake or try to stop, but only the rear ones are in stock. So at least my handbrake will work and I won't crash.
Yeah.
Handbrake adjustment is off now with the new pads.
Really?
Yeah. Oil pressure appears to be good though. We got 73 right now. Up to 85.
Sick.
Sounds better. I feel like
it's
the
running
oil,
right.
the oil makes it better.
Yeah.
All right, talk to me. What did you do? How much nicer is it now?
It's got an extra 30 horsepower. I think it has a handbrake. Colette was really excited about this car and then she got a ride in and wasn't excited anymore.
No, I think this is one of the coolest looking cars that you have. The tiny wheels, obsessed.
Why do girls like tiny wheels?
Tiny wheels, Boso style little wing there, like from the distance, if it had like a crazy little exhaust. Not even crazy, just a little blast pipes off the side. It'd complete the look for me. Come on, you gotta do them.
I want you to be sold on how it drives.
Ooh, if I weld you some, can you put them on even if it's temporarily?
If they're titanium.
Are you gonna get the titanium for me to weld?
Sure. I'll reach out to Vibrant Performance. Request Vibrant Titanium hearts.
It doesn't have to be a heart.
No.
It can be regular, just blast pipe style.
You guys might notice I'm wearing different gloves when I drive this thing. I need them to be sticky because this is the most slippery wheel ever. And with no power steering, if the wheel slips out of my hands.
Why don't we fix the power steering? We have 30 more horsepower to control.
You say, why don't we fix the power steering?
Yeah.
There's nothing to fix. It's just not there.
Why don't you make it there?
It's old, tiny wheels, no power steering. That's
no,
the thing. Yeah.
No, we can put an electric power steering setup on this. So.
By we, you mean you?
By we, I mean you, sir. I have too many car problems and things to do.
Am I good to fire? Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Hopefully oil pressure's good now.
30 more horsepower. Let's go.
And oil cooler.
And oil pressure. Like,
There's no bolt in the front of my seat, so it kind of, that makes it fun. Let's see if we got the power now. You ready?
I also just ate.
Ready for VTEC?
Yeah.
It's pretty good, right?
Yeah. Threw me in the back of my seat.
This seat is so bad. This thing's so fun to drive.
No, let me out. Let me
it just brings out the best in me.
Can hear she's having a great time.
Dude, this car brings out the best in me. I don't know what it is. I can't wait to have a working handbrake. Is that oil smoke or tire smoke?
That's tire smoke, bud.
Sick.
Yeah.
Hey, it's got enough power to slide in the dry now.
Yeah?
You got to really work at it, but it's better than an A86 for sure.
Yeah.
I had to work way more. But she doesn't understand yet, so she gets really frustrated. You have to drop a tire to make the car free up. It's like going in a puddle.
Okay, we almost like died 5 times. He's completely unhinged, and I couldn't get out of the car.
This is the
Unhinged.
Honda boy coming out.
This car, we need to call this the unhinged coupe. I like that. Delete all the hinges. Only quick fasteners. Hey, how much oil are we leaking?
I don't think any. This is not closed.
Because I was trying to get out.
Oh, I want to make sure it's not getting oil. This thing's really, really light.
No.
I love how you're trying to get out. Owen comes and shuts the door.
Let me drive.
You want to drive?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. It's gonna be a lot of effort. Do you need gloves?
Yeah. Don't look at me like unhinged. Unhinged look. Look at the look in your eye.
This helmet squishes my cheeks together, so I feel like it makes me a crazy face. I'm like,
Can I?
Chop?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the brakes don't really work. The power steering doesn't really work. The seat's broken. Unhinged.
Probably two like that.
This is the science. This is insane.
Well, why don't you have a slider that works?
That's a new car.
Yeah, but you don't think of me always?
This is gonna be the most ridiculous thing you've ever driven with all this padding.
Well, what else is a girl
Yeah,
supposed to do?
yeah, there you go.
Ugh.
All right.
Is it in first?
Yeah.
It was in reverse!
It's a BMW transmission.
You lied!
I don't know.
Oh my god. Oh my god, this is hard already. I'm not even doing anything. Oh, I'm flying everywhere! Woo!
Just feel the brakes first, because they don't really work.
Oh yeah, they don't work. A squirrel. How are you drifting?
There's a
this?
car. Oh, you're good.
I think I'm gonna fly everywhere because I don't have the seat holding me in.
Let's go to the skid pad to test first. There's less obstructions.
Can you take out this one?
This one, the big one?
I guess. I'm not gonna be able to drive it otherwise. But I can't really.
What's that?
I'm still gonna fly everywhere. Does this actually work? Hey!
If you pull really hard, try to
Oh,
drive without it.
So it doesn't work. It doesn't work?
It doesn't work really.
Take it out. I'm just not gonna see anything.
All right,
Oh, this is gonna be so bad.
let her in.
Oh my god, I'm flying everywhere! I can't clutch it.
What?
Just take it all out. I'm just not gonna see. I can't clutch it because I'm flying around too much. I can't even get my lid over there.
I could try to hold you in place.
Can you? Oh god, this is some booth stuff.
He's laughing.
Oh, this is so bad.
It's just a figure 8. That's reverse. That's first.
Oh, this is so bad. I do this one. I can't see anything! What gear am I supposed to be in?
First is good.
Nothing happened.
After this,
Huh?
you gotta be in second to drift anything else.
Ah!
Do big figure 8s on the skid pad. I don't want, this thing might bite you.
No. If I could actually clutch it. Oh, you're getting scared. I like that.
You need second gear.
Huh?
First gear is not gonna slide unless you're just doing a small donut.
Can I do second like that?
I don't think so. You're gonna need some speed. Babe, stock S13 axles, slow car. Ah!
Okay, so do it.
High likelihood, no steer, no brakes.
Can't see. No fun.
I know how terrified I am driving this. This is the steering. Babe, I love you, but if I'm gonna have you drive this car full tilt, I need it to have working brakes. I need you to fit in your seat, because if you crash and you get hurt, I'm gonna be really
Everything would be fine if I could actually control anything and not be flying around. But I wish I would have committed to the bit more of telling you we're gonna do a lap. I could feel how scared you were, and it was so funny. I rarely get to do that to him, and that was really fun.
You're never this confident.
I wasn't.
I was like, where did this come from?
I just wanted to stare you. Literally, if I had a seat though and I could see, like, yeah, it'd be hard, but
all right, next step
it'd be
is
fun.
make this car Colette certified. I think you could slide it, and it's great practice, but it is. We're ending the video here. I told her it's enough. This car it's a handful. Yeah. But it's good. It's a good rig. Girlfriend approved. I told her I will let her drift the full layout once she can see over the dash and she has brakes that work.
I can see.
One of those two things are very easy to do. Yeah. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.